my mind, so many things emerge in these kinds of conversations um, that speak into the movement, basically. I mean, just that's why, Jeannette, when you were like, that's what I probably wanted to say to you, that I've been feeling incredibly connected to what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Not so much as a thing to do, but rather almost like a person who is um, here to hold the torch of this. You know, of course, with is not me, but it's like I'm willing to hold whatever I need to hold more than execute something. And um, I'll just speak, now from a very personal place, about what we're talking about, just as another participant of the movement. I mean, basically,
Mm-hmm.
it's not as somebody who's leading any conversation, but just as me being a participant or a member, that sometimes, Jeannette, you've said that the socially conscious change maker, from the time that I've known you, you've said, oh, it's because it's hard to find what we're doing somewhere else, right? Like you mentioned that before, like almost like everywhere we go, then we're like routed into some sort of, this is the how to do it. And that's not what socially conscious change makers wish, right? It's like we don't need to be told, like, do it this way or do it that way, but rather what we're doing, which is like, oh, is it possible to open a conversation that is really genuine and where people are free to listen to themselves, if you will. And Ines is speaking about that right now because of the question, like, what do you mean, like, not being observed, right? And it's such a sacred place within us that we ourselves, sometimes I speak of this as the soul being very shy, that if we go like this kind of picture that I have behind me, if I go into the forest rushing to see nature, well, nature doesn't show up. It's almost like, well, we're not going to show up like that. And I feel humanity is not able to hear that, because we're always rushing people to do something, like, we have to do something to produce whatever outcome we want, and in the process we start becoming less and less present. So our authenticity and our true being doesn't show up because there is no space. I mean, how do we want it to show up, if there is no space for it? Like, there is no reason for it. So anyway, now with that in mind, I just wanted to share that, maybe and who knows if we'll show this to the general public, but within our community, I'm also feeling free to say that, for a long time I have felt disconnected from the world, you know, quietly disconnected. It's not a disconnection that I speak about, but it's almost like a tremendous pain of seeing the destruction that we've been in as a humanity. And I've been observing this for a long time, and observing the corruption that we have built, kind of like a whole system of corruption that goes into every industry that we've manufactured for the sake of making humanity addicted to consuming. And that's what I was hearing with Kate. It's like, wow, you know, like it's great to be, I'm sure, you know, in a fashion show and seeing the beauty of the clothes and the, you know, whatever the outfits are. And of course, on the outside, perhaps, you know, models who look extremely, you know, whatever, attractive or meeting the expectations of that field. But what for? And I think Kate was speaking into that. It's like she got tired of it, so she left, and now, you know, she took some time off, but then she came back, and there is like a bunch of us in the world who feel like that. And I think I heard it through Ines at the very beginning. Uh, it's like we don't, some of us are noticing that we are running out of energy, but we don't know what to do about it. It's like, okay, you know, how do I engage with the world in a way that I'm going to be motivated instead of just punching a card to pay the bills and then asking the question, how do I act being, right? But if that question comes out of like another have to, like, tell me how to do that so that I can meet another expectation, then there is no answer to the question. It's just, it's almost like rushing into the forest, you know, and where are the animals? Where is the, you know, it's like going into diving, for example, in the ocean and looking frantically for the fish, but the fish don't show up because unless you stay still, they're not going to feel comfortable coming to you, right? And it's the same with our soul. I think that unless we learn to slow down and actually relax and not treat ourselves as a machine or as a product, then our soul itself is not going to show up. Our being is not going to show up. That's my personal kind of thing. But as far as the community, I just thought, wow, what a great opportunity for this community to actually grow this, as Jeannette and I have been doing without rushing, because practically we're practicing evolution ourselves within the project, because the project will not grow unless we listen ourselves, right? So that's what we're doing here, is listening, seeing what happens.
Yes, because it's showing us the way where he has to go. We're no one to decide where he has to go.
Yeah, right.
It's by listening and by just reacting from the within, no? To create what has to be created and in togetherness.